She touches your arm during the conversation. Seems innocent, seems casual, but listen to this carefully. That touch wasn't an accident. It was a sexual code that 97% of men can't decipher. And while you think it was just friendliness, another man already understood the invitation. Prepare yourself, because what I'm about to reveal will destroy everything you believed about female attraction. Female body language is a psychological minefield. Every touch has a hidden meaning. Every gesture carries strategic intention. Machiavelli said, "Men judge more by their eyes than by their hands, because everyone can see, but few can feel." And that's exactly what happens to you. You see the touch, but you don't feel the real message behind it. Meanwhile, she's already classified you, already decided if you're a man who understands the game, or just another one she can easily manipulate. The brutal truth is this: when a woman touches certain parts of your body during a social interaction, she's not being polite. She's testing you. She's sending a coded signal that separates strategic men from naive men. And the absolute majority of men fail this test every single day. They interpret sexual interest as friendship. They interpret invitation as courtesy. And they die in the friend zone without ever understanding why. Today that ends. I'm going to show you exactly which touches are disguised sexual invitations. I'm going to reveal the 3 levels of escalation she uses. And I'm going to teach you the strategic masculine response that transforms this code into magnetic attraction. But attention! This information goes against everything society taught you about respecting signals and waiting for her to make it clear. If you're not prepared for the raw truth about female desire, close this video now, because what comes next will completely change your perception about women, power, and seduction. Let's get straight to the point. There are 7 touch zones that reveal female sexual intention, but 3 of them are absolutely undeniable. First zone, the forearm. When she touches your forearm during conversation, especially if the touch lasts more than 2 seconds, this isn't coincidence. It's a receptivity test. She's measuring your reaction. Do you pull away? Do you freeze? Do you ignore it? Or do you understand the game and respond with the same language? This is the first level of the code. Second zone, the shoulder or chest. Pay attention to this. When a woman accidentally places her hand on your shoulder or chest while laughing at something you said, she crossed an invisible line. She invaded your personal space deliberately. This is intimacy territory. No woman touches a man's chest by accident. No woman touches a masculine shoulder without intention. This is the second level. The escalation is happening. Third zone, the thigh or knee. Prepare yourself for this. If she touches your thigh or knee during a conversation, especially in a social or public environment, you're in explosive territory. This is no longer a test. It's a direct invitation. She's saying, in her body language, I want you to advance. I want you to lead. I want you to make the decision that I can't make openly without risking my social reputation. And here's the secret nobody tells you. Women can't be direct about sexual desire without paying a brutal social price. If she comes to you and says openly, I want you, she risks being judged, labeled, diminished. So she uses the code. She touches, she tests. She waits for you to be intelligent enough to understand and lead. But most men fail. And I'm going to show you exactly how with 3 real stories. Rodrigo was at a bar with work colleagues. A woman from the group, named Beatrice, started sitting closer and closer to him. During the conversation, she touched his arm 3 times. Rodrigo thought, she's friendly. Then Beatrice laughed at one of his jokes and placed her hand on Rodrigo's shoulder for 4 seconds. Rodrigo thought, she must be a bit tipsy. At the end of the night, when they were leaving, Beatrice stumbled and grabbed Rodrigo's thigh to balance herself. Rodrigo thought, she really drank too much. He offered her a taxi. She accepted and left. 2 weeks later, Rodrigo discovered that Beatrice was dating Marcos, another colleague from the group. He was confused. He thought Beatrice liked him. The truth: Beatrice sent 3 clear signals of sexual interest. Rodrigo ignored all of them, so she redirected her attention to someone who understood the language. Marcos saw the same signals, but when Beatrice touched Marcos's shoulder, he responded by lightly touching her lower back. When she touched his thigh, Marcos held her hand for a second and looked into her eyes. He understood the code. He led, he won. Rodrigo lost without even knowing he was playing. Mario was at a weekend course. He met Camila on the first day. She sat next to him. During the break, Camila touched Mario's forearm while asking a question about the content. Light touch, 2 seconds. Mario responded normally and continued the conversation. On the second day, during a group activity, Camila bumped into Mario's shoulder and apologized while laughing. She maintained eye contact for 3 seconds. Mario smiled back, but didn't do anything. On the last day of the course, during the coffee break, Camila sat next to Mario on the couch. She crossed her legs toward him. She touched his knee while telling a story about travel. The touch lasted 5 seconds. Mario froze, got nervous, didn't know what to do. So he quickly changed the subject and talked about work. Camila understood the message. She smiled politely and never showed interest again. In the course WhatsApp group, Mario saw Camila exchanging animated messages with Philippe, another participant. A week later, They were dating. Mario lost the opportunity because he didn't understand that those touches were progressive tests. Camila was escalating interest, waiting for Mario to assume leadership. When he failed, she immediately redirected her energy to someone who understood. Felipe wasn't more handsome, wasn't richer, but he understood the code, and that made all the difference. Sebastian was at a birthday party. He met Larissa through mutual friends. They talked for 20 minutes. Larissa touched his arm twice during the conversation. Sebastian noticed he didn't pull back. He kept the conversation interesting, asked strategic questions, created emotional tension. After 10 more minutes, Larissa laughed at something he said and touched his shoulder. This time, Sebastian took a subtle step closer, invaded her personal space by a few inches. She didn't move away. Positive signal. Later, they were sitting on the couch talking. Larissa touched Sebastian's thigh while telling a story. This is where Sebastian applied the perfect Machiavellian strategy. He didn't ignore it, didn't freeze, and didn't act desperately. He placed his hand lightly over hers for 2 seconds, looked into her eyes, and said in a calm voice, "You're dangerous." Larissa smiled. The sexual tension exploded. Sebastian created a moment of complicity. He acknowledged the game without breaking the dynamic. He led without being aggressive. 2 hours later, they left the party together and started a relationship that lasted 8 months. Sebastian won because he understood the 3 levels of escalation. He responded to each touch with a proportional advance. He led the emotional game without breaking her social code. Now I'm going to reveal the complete structure. First level, the test touch, forearm or arm. This is the moment where she measures your receptivity. She wants to know, is this man safe? Will he understand? Or will he get scared? Most men completely ignore this touch. They keep talking as if nothing happened. Big mistake. The strategic response here is to acknowledge without exaggerating. You maintain the conversation, but you also slightly reduce the physical distance. You lean your body toward her. You create body reciprocity. This communicates, I understood, and I'm comfortable with this. Second level, the confirmation touch, shoulder or chest. Here she already knows you're receptive. Now she wants to confirm. Will this man lead? Or will he wait for me to make all the decisions? This is the masculine leadership test. If you continue being passive, she loses interest quickly. Women don't want to lead the seduction dance. They want a man who understands the signals and advances with confidence. The strategic response here is to mirror the touch. When she touches your shoulder, you can lightly touch her lower back. When she laughs and touches your chest, you can hold her arm for a second. You're saying in body language, I play this game, and I play it well. Third level, explosive territory, thigh or knee. This is the final invitation. She crossed all social barriers, risked her reputation, and put the decision in your hands. If you fail here, she'll never try again. The window of opportunity closes permanently. The strategic response is to lead physically and verbally. You hold her hand, you look into her eyes. You create a moment of deliberate sexual tension, and you say something that acknowledges the chemistry without breaking the magic. Something like, "You've been testing me since you got here," or, "I noticed what you're doing." This creates complicity, shows that you're different from other men, shows that you understand the female game without judging her for it, and that is irresistible to her. The biggest masculine mistake isn't ignoring the touches. It's worse than that. It's acting like nothing happened and then trying to be respectful by waiting for her to make it clear. Listen to this very carefully. Women will never make it clear. They can't. Society punishes women who openly demonstrate sexual desire. So they use the code, they touch, they test. They wait for you to be intelligent enough to understand. When you ignore the signals and wait for her to be more direct, you're asking her to risk her social reputation. And she won't do that. Instead, she'll redirect her interest to another man who understands. That's why you see women who seemed interested suddenly turn cold. They didn't change their mind. You simply failed the test. And she moved on. No drama, no explanation. Just energy redirection. This is pure feminine strategy. Machiavellian, efficient, and completely invisible to men who don't study the game. Now I'm going to teach you the complete Machiavellian strategy. Step 1. Develop body awareness. You need to perceive when a woman touches you. Seems obvious, but most men are so inside their own head that they don't notice. Train your attention to female body language. Observe patterns. When does she touch? Where does she touch? For how long? How frequently? These details reveal her real intention. Step 2. Calibrate the response. Don't exaggerate. Don't ignore. Calibrate. If she gives a light touch on the arm, you don't jump to holding her hand. You take a proportional step. Reduce the distance. Lean your body. Maintain eye contact longer. If she escalates to the shoulder, you escalate to the lower back. If she touches the thigh, you hold her hand. Always a proportional level of response. Step 3. Create verbal tension. Physical touch without emotional tension is empty. You need to combine body language with verbal language. When she touches you for the 3rd time, look into her eyes and say something like, "You have an interesting way of getting attention," or, "I notice that." This creates complicity, shows that you're not naive, and transforms the implicit game into an explicit game in an elegant way. Step 4. Lead the progression. After you've acknowledged her game, you assume leadership. You propose leaving that environment. You suggest continuing the conversation elsewhere. You make the decision that she can't make without risking her social image. This is the moment where you separate strategic men from reactive men. Reactive men wait for her to decide. Strategic men lead, and women are magnetically attracted to emotional leadership. Step 5. Maintain the masculine frame. Throughout the entire process, you maintain the masculine energy of leadership. You don't ask permission for each step. You don't get anxious waiting for approval. You advance with calibrated confidence, and you accept the risk of rejection as part of the game. This confidence frame is more attractive than physical appearance. It's more powerful than money. It's the essence of masculine energy that women deeply desire. I'm going to tell you something that will shock you. Women feel sexual desire as intense as men, sometimes even more. But they can't express this openly without devastating social consequences. So they developed a code system. Touches, looks, physical proximity, emotional tests. All of this is disguised sexual language, and society teaches men to ignore these codes. They tell you to respect her space, to wait for her to show clear interest, to not assume anything. This is feminist propaganda that destroyed masculine capacity to lead sexual interactions. And the result? Confused men, frustrated women, and an entire generation that doesn't know how to flirt anymore. The Machiavellian truth is this. Women want you to understand the signals, want you to lead, want you to assume the risk of advancing, because this frees them from social responsibility. They can tell their friends, he made the first move, while internally, they know that they created the conditions for it to happen. This is the game, and you need to play if you want to win. Now you know the truth. Now you understand the code that separates strategic men from naive men. The question is, what are you going to do with this information? Will you continue ignoring the signals and losing opportunities? Or will you start to observe, calibrate, and lead? The choice is yours. But understand this. Every time you fail to recognize a disguised sexual invitation, you're not being respectful. You're being invisible, and women aren't attracted to invisible men. They're attracted to men who understand the game, who lead with confidence, who take calculated risks. Men who know how to read between the lines. Men who master female body language. Men who play emotional chess while others play checkers. If you want to become that man, start now. Observe the touches, calibrate the responses, create tension, lead the progression, and assume the power that was always yours. If this video opened your eyes to the reality of the female game, leave your like now. Subscribe to the channel to receive more content about masculine psychology, seduction strategy, and relational power. And comment down below, I understood the code, because this will reprogram your mind to never ignore a signal again. See you in the next video, where I'm going to reveal the 5 psychological tests that every woman uses in the first 15 minutes of conversation, and how you can pass all of them with mastery. Until then, take control and master the game.